event. My name's Fiona. I'm the Taubmans Colour Specialist and we are here tonight to talk all things colour. Tonight's session is all about frequently asked questions. So what we do is we go through all of our social media channels, have a look at all the feeds and collate questions that we see, occurring regularly, and we endeavour to answer them for you. Having said that, tonight, as we say every week, please use this as an opportunity to have a voice. Certainly upload any questions that you may have in regards to colour. Also on any projects that you are embarking on, and let's not forget, ask any questions about our wonderful portfolio of products that we have available to help you to create your perfect space. So certainly do upload photos, but if you can hold off until we finish streaming. So I stream for the next half an hour, and then certainly pop any photos that you're wanting some colour suggestions with after that, and I can certainly answer them for you. So as I said, on screen for the next half an hour, here to answer all of your colour questions. So certainly use it as an opportunity to shoot me some questions. I can see the feed here, so I'll do my best to answer while we're on screen. Also, while I'm going on, I'm going to remind everybody that we have our Colorsmith competition running. It's currently open for entry. So this promotion is celebrating Taubmans' proud partnership with interior designer James Treble. Now, we are in the final days of our competition. So to enter, you need to create your own colour using Colorsmith, and you will have seen me using Colorsmith quite often on screen here. And we want to see your colour, and we also want to know the inspiration behind the colour that you have created. So here's a fantastic opportunity for you to enter, create your own colour. It's fantastic. So the competition closes on Monday. If you're wanting some more information, it is pinned to the top of our Facebook feed. So that's Taubmans Australia Facebook, and you can certainly find more information about that. But I'd certainly recommend that you get out there creating some fantastic colours and enter. So tonight, as I said, we are all about frequently asked questions, and I do already have a question. So I might go to that and then I'll go back to the questions that I have in front of me. So hi Christine, thank you very much for joining our session tonight. And your question is, what is a relaxing bedroom colour? Okay, so if you want to know, look, for me, I like to use colours that have a little bit of depth to them in a bedroom. And I guess you're wanting to create that perfect, beautiful sort of zen space. So I do find that, don't be scared to, as I say, commit to colour, and don't be scared to use colour that has a level of intensity in it. So if you're looking at the psychology of colour, this is where you can sort of understand how colour plays with your emotions. And as I always say, colour has the ability to evoke an emotion. And so if we talk about the psychology of colour, look to colours like green. Green's very calming, healing, as is blue. And so if you sort of work within the realms of those, you can't go wrong. There are some beautiful, beautiful, I'm going to talk about greens. I think there are some stunning greens on offer, if you like, and within our beautiful portfolio of colours. So I'm going to hop off the screen. I'm going to take you to our web. So if you're wanting to follow me at home, if you hop onto the website, which is www.taubmans.com.au, and then we can explore it together, and I'll show you where you can find some colours. So as I said, I'll put myself in the corner of the screen. Hi everybody. Now I'm here, I've gone to taubmans.com.au, and you can see along here you've got obviously a few drop down windows, but if we go to colours and then paint colours, and as you scroll down, you can see here you get to select from a colour family. So everything is grouped, making it really easy when you start your, if you like, your journey or your path to purchase with colour. So here we go. I'm going to take you through, as I said, the greens. I really do have a love of green, and I find it to be really, really relaxing. So, and if you're wondering, where do I start? Because obviously when you are selecting colours, there is so many to choose from. Have a look here. We can see here, it says most popular green colours. So within every colour library that we have on screen up there, so if I go across any of these, it does firstly guide you to the most popular green colour. So this is a really good place to start. Now I do have, there are a couple here that I do tend to favour. You've got Painted Turtle. Now, bear in mind when you're looking at my screen, on your screen, if you like, the colour may not look as exact. So I always say, when you're looking for colour, this is a fantastic place to start, but then do get yourself a sample pot. And you'll hear me say this every single time. Get yourself a large piece of cardboard. Now, if you're going to, let's say a Bunnings store, for example, the paint comes on pallets, and in between the layers, they have large, big sheets of cardboard. I'm sure if you went to the paint department, somebody there would be able to assist you in getting some of that cardboard, because the way to view your colour is not paint it directly on the wall, but to get yourself a piece of cardboard and have it at least 1 metre by 1 metre square. Brush out 3 coats of the colour onto the cardboard, and then move your cardboard around the room. Put it up near the ceiling, put it down near the floor. Natural sunlight if you do have that, or natural light, and also of an evening when you've got your artificial lighting on, so you can really see how the colour is going to work within its space. But as I said, Painted Turtle is one of my favourite colours. I think it is just beautiful, and it is a beautiful, beautiful green, certainly something that would work extremely well in a bedroom. Another colour that I really do love, while we're talking about greens, and I'll take you down here as well, Tanura green is also beautiful, but there is another tone down here that I absolutely adore. And when you see it, when you really see it as in an actual paint deposited colour as opposed to what we're seeing on the screen, it's just a complex, beautiful green. It has a tendency to play really well in different lights, and as I kept saying, it would be one of my favourite colours within the colour library, and that is Highland Meadow. So I'm just going to open that up. It is a stunning colour. It works extremely well within many environments. You could use that, you could even put navy blues, etc. with something like this. Soft baby pinks would work really, really well. Your aubergine tones. You could even go as far as using something like a beautiful gold, etc. with that. And that again is another tone that would work really well in a bedroom. So as I said, take yourself across to taubmans.com.au, have a look, go into the colours and then into the paint colours with the drop down library, and you can start to explore a world of colour. It's fantastic. Okay, I think I've got another question here. Hi Jodie, thank you very much for joining our session. I'll come back on screen. Okay, your question is, would a green paint go with a woodland grey Colorbond roof for the exterior of a house? So given that a woodland grey, when you start to look at the different tones of grey, and you would have heard me talking before about, I like to categorise grey, whether it be a green grey, whether you have a blue-based grey, a red-based grey, or a brown-based grey. So a brown sort of tends to go into that greyish. You could find, if you're using a woodland grey, it does tend to sit for me more in sort of that greeny grey, because it does tend to have a green sort of undertone. It's a beautiful tone, and I'd certainly suggest using something that has a slight green tone to complement or to sit really well with the woodland grey. So yes, it depends on, when you say wood green, are you wanting, I guess if you can come back to me, are you wanting something that's let's just say more of a solid sort of green? Are you happy to look at something that perhaps is a greeny sort of grey that would complement the woodland grey? If you let me know, I can certainly come back with a few colour suggestions for you. Okay, hi Christine, thank you for coming back. Okay, would you use the relaxing bedroom colour on all walls and architraves? So I love to, as I say, commit to colour. So I would suggest definitely you could use the beautiful relaxing green on all 4 walls, certainly. For your architraves, I think using, so your architraves, your trims, your door, etc., and your architraves around your windows, etc., I would look at using a beautiful soft white to offset or to complement the green. If you were to do the green around the architraves and the trims, etc., it could potentially be a little bit too much. And I just think that if you're going to use a green by framing it in a beautiful soft white, you're going to have a beautiful, perfect colour scheme there. So definitely look for a white And probably when I say cleaner, a brighter white's going to work really, really well with your with a green. And one of the questions I did have here from collating from the feed, a question is that we get asked quite often is, what is your whitest white? So I guess, you know, using, when we're talking about your greens, etc., going through a nice bright white, the whitest white that I believe we have is a colour called Brilliant White. So that would certainly work extremely well, Christine, with the greens. So Brilliant White, if you were to get yourself a can of, let's just say, I'm going to go straight to our Taubmans Endure, and it does say on the front of the can, if you're looking at the white base, it says Brilliant White. So what makes our white so white is contains a high amount of titanium dioxide. And so if you were to lift the can up, you would feel, I like to say, you'd feel the goodness in the can. So that's all that titanium dioxide, etc., that's going to give you a beautiful bright white, and it's also going to give you really good opacity, so really good coverage, etc. So yeah, a Brilliant White is probably the brightest white. If you're wanting a white that is, if you've got an area where you get a lot of, I can hear there's quite a few questions coming through here. If you're wanting a white that's that will play or look clean, etc., if you go for a cooler white, it's going to look quite clean and quite bright. And so I'd suggest having a look at something like Miss Universe. It's effectively white with some black tint in it. So, but what it does is it creates that beautiful brightness as well. And certainly, you know, fantastic for areas where you do get, if you're wanting, or for areas where you've got, let's just say if you've got a timber floor, etc., and you're wanting to try and keep those walls cleaner looking, brighter, etc., using something like that is going to work really, really well. So I hope that helped answer your question, Christine. Oh, fantastic. Hi, Prue. Thank you very much for joining us. You have said, thank you for recommending the green Sussex to go with wind spray. We have now selected this for our exterior colour. Fantastic. I think that's going to be a winning combination there. Okay, so hi, Belinda. Thank you very much for joining our session tonight. Is there a black that you like that's not completely black? Just a little pared back to paint gutters next to a roof in Monument. Okay, when I think of a black that is black but pared back, as you say, a little bit, I sort of tend to think about a colour like Trendy. I'm just going to have a look here because I just want to see how it's going to compare and to see whether there's going to be enough of a contrast, if you like, with Monument. Because Monument is quite a beautiful dark, I like to refer to it as quite a dark charcoal. So if you're wanting something, well, let me just have a look here. Let me just find it. Okay, so to paint gutters next to, you know what? I don't know whether you're going to see this on screen if I hold them up together because of all the lighting, etc. I have within my space, but I'm going to give it a whirl. You can see my hand is on Monument, and then the Monument is actually touching Trendy. So I would suggest having a look at Taubmans Trendy for you. I think that could actually hit the spot really, really well. What would be, okay, let me, I'm going to apologise if I'm saying your name incorrectly now. Let me just have a look here. My screen is, let me just see. Okay, I hope I've got it right. I do apologise. Odile, thank you very much for joining our session. What would be a good white to use on architraves and doors, please? And is it best to use gloss or matte? Okay, really, really good question. So I guess the other thing to consider when you start to look at whites, and there are so many whites out there, and there are whites that have undertones that I refer to as more of a neutral undertone, and that's certainly looking at a white that tends to have a little bit of a soft green undertone. You've got whites that have more of a blue, they're cooler, brighter, whites, etc. There's even whites that have sort of purpley undertones. So there are so many. But if you're going, the big tip first of all is if you're wanting to keep it white and bright, I would recommend using a water-based enamel. Now the reason I'm saying that is it's non-yellowing. So traditional old oil-based enamels have a tendency to golden up. So no matter what colour white you use, they take on a golden hue. So they lose their, they lose that beautiful white and they go yellow effectively. So if you use something like a water-based enamel, you're going to be guaranteed that it's going to stay nice and white and crisp. Now, using a water-based enamel as opposed to an oil-based enamel, you will find that the sheen level is slightly less. So it's dependent on whether you prefer more of a glossy finish, and if you do, I'd be recommending, if you're using the water-based, to go gloss. Or if you're preferring something that has just that semi sort of sheen, have a look at using a semi-gloss. Now there are, if you go into store and have a look, and I'm going to hold this up here, you'll see something that's called All About the Sheen. So this is a sheen level indicator, and that's a great way, and you can hold it in the lights and you can have a look and you can see for yourself what the sheen's going to look like. And you'll also find, for example, if you were to walk into, let's say, a Bunnings store and you're going to look at the enamels bay, you will find a hang cell that's going to have actual samples of Architraves painted with your with a low sheen and a semi-gloss and a gloss finish in the water-based enamel, so you can see for yourself. But look, either or, to be honest, a lot of people tend to favour a semi-gloss at the moment. I personally like a semi-gloss as well, but it all comes down to, you know, what you prefer. But I would definitely recommend using a water-based enamel if you're wanting to keep it nice and white. And a good white, if you're wanting something that you know is going to work with pretty much any colour that you have, look at Taubmans Brilliant White. It's going to sit with pretty much any colour. So I'd have a look at that. Let me see what else we have here. Okay, going back to Jody. Let me just see. Okay, so the first question, I'll see whether I can quickly just find that and read that back out, everybody. Whoops. What have we got here? Okay, it's finding a green tone colour to go with Woodland Grey, and so it's a weatherboard house and you're open to any suggestions. Okay, so let's do a little bit of live colour consulting here and just grab ourselves the Woodland Grey. Where are we? Now, I'll have a look here. And for a weatherboard, so Jody, are you in a bush setting? That's also, I guess, when you start looking at colours that you're going to use within any environment, and I particularly like to bring this to life when we're talking about exterior colours, it's a really good idea to have a look at what's going on around you, because you want your house to sort of work or to sit and fit within its environment. So if you live in a bush setting, using as we're looking now to look at Woodland Grey, etc., using tones like that work really well in that sort of a setting. If you're coastal, if you tend to look more for tones that have that blue undertone going into your surf mist, and you know, if you're wanting to create that Hamptons feel that everybody is at the moment, looking at surf mist again and beautiful soft greys. But let's just have a look here. So we do have, and I'll see whether I can get it up on screen for you in a moment. So there is a colour here, and I'm not sure again how, that's actually really beautiful. I'm not sure, again, it'd probably be, I'm in a, no, I'm not. Okay, so you're in a suburban beach suburb, no worries at all. So I think something like this could work really well. I'm just going to get it up here first and then I'll bring it up on the screen. Just bear with me for a moment. There's lots going on here on my little desk. What have I got here? South wind. Okay. All right, so I've gone for something that is, let me just bring this up and pop myself up in the screen. So You can see here a colour called South Wind. So that sits really, really well with Woodland Grey, and it does tend to have that sort of green undertone. Another colour, and I'll keep working here, because you could, if given that you're in a beach sort of setting, we could go for, I'm going to see if I can find you more of a grey that has a slight green undertone to see whether that's going to work as well, and that does. You could go for a colour called Taubmans Char Gray. So let's just pop that up on the screen here. Let me just see if I can find that, yeah, as well. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful tone. And when you see it, obviously not on a screen, but when I'm looking at my fan deck here with the colour, it sits really, really well with the Woodland Grey. And I think that given that you're in more of a beach sort of setting, that's going to complement your surrounds as well. So have a look at that one as well. And I hope that helps you there. Okay, what else do we have? Hi Vicky, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Okay, your question is, I have oak flooring with teak and white cupboards. What colour would you suggest as a feature wall? Wonderful. Okay, so given that you have oak flooring with teak, white cupboards, you have a beautiful neutral palette, so you can certainly use many, many colours. You know, things that come to mind are, there is a beautiful colour that is featured in our Chromatic Joy, which is our 2021-2022 colour forecast. And I'm just going to get that up. I automatically think of a beautiful mustardy sort of gold colour. Look at this. I'm going to bring that up on the screen for you now. Something like that could work extremely well. And there is also, if we go back to, I'll take you back. See, this is our Chromatic Joy, and I'll show you, let's go here again, some of these beautiful, beautiful tones along the top there. Look at that green. It is divine. You could even use, going into the tones here, like the beautiful burnt orange tones. If we just scroll down a little bit more here as well, look at these for some colours. Oh, that middle colour would just be superb mixed with oak, teak and white. It would add that beautiful element of warmth. And certainly with a colour like that, you could certainly introduce, there's no reason why you couldn't use something like that, introduce some gold tones as well, and even going into some beautiful teal tones, and I think you'd have a beautiful colour palette. So don't be afraid to use some colour. As I always say, you know, these sessions are all about committing to colour. So hop onto our website, www.taubmans.com.au, scroll into the section that says colours into the drop down, and you will see there the colour forecast, and it'll take you to Chromatic Joy as well. So have a look there. There are some stunning colours. I hope that helps you. I'll come back on screen. Okay, and we also have another question. Thank you very much, Gail, for joining our session tonight. Good evening. What colour of black goes with standard black aluminium windows? Thank you. So my question to you, Gail, is, are you wanting to pop the black tone inside? Are you wanting to paint outside? So if you can come back with a little bit more information, then I can understand what project you're embarking on, and then give you some advice as to some colours that are going to be perfect for your project. Okay, I think I have, as I just scroll through here, I'll just have a quick look to make sure I haven't neglected anybody at the moment. Hi Toby, thank you very much for joining our session. Sorry I missed your question there. Okay, so what's a good matte black Taubmans do for a feature wall behind a TV? So we have a fantastic product called Taubmans Endure, which comes in a matte finish. And what actually makes it fantastic is the fact that you can actually wipe it. It contains, a standard matte paint contains what they call calcium carbonate, and when you wipe it, you end up fracturing the calcium carbonate surface, if you like, and you end up with what's called burnishing, which are shiny patches. But with our matte, it contains ceramic microspheres. So you can wipe it and it's not going to change, or the surface won't change structure, so you won't get burnishing, etc., etc. So you could pretty much, I'd recommend using the Taubmans Matte Endure. And because of the bases that we have within that, whether it being a white accent neutral, and because when we start to talk about using really dark colours, it generally comes out of a neutral base. You could certainly use, we've got so many wonderful blacks, and one that I talked about before, which I do love and do favour, is Taubmans Trendy. Have a look at that. I think something like that would look fantastic in matte as a feature wall behind your TV. I hope that helps. Okay, I'll just quickly scroll through here and see if there's anybody else that I have neglected. I think I have pretty well answered nearly everybody's questions. And we've talked about our Whitest white. Now, another question that we get asked this quite often, nearly every week, we're asked about what are our most popular whites, etc., etc. And, you know, what are our most popular greys, because obviously white and grey are very much on trend, loved and used by many. So I guess, you know, popular whites, and it's really hard when you stand at that colour wall and you look and you think, where do I start? So I'm going to show you, and this is what, when I'm in store, if you ever see me at a colour wall and I'm helping somebody with colour, etc., and you're beginning your journey with whites, or you're beginning your journey with greys, grab yourself one of these, which is called our Whites and Neutrals brochure. Now, what I really love about it is it's made to be very easy to use. So now if I hold this up like that, you can see one side says warm and then the other side says cool. So your cooler colours tend to have more of a softer, you know, your cool can have, as I said before, like a slight blue undertone, etc. So they're cooler. You can see on here, we're starting with some whites that do have that blue undertone, and then we're going into whites. And when I'm working from, let's say if I'm working from this colour guide, I like to work within the realms of this space here. There are some beautiful, beautiful tones. You've got colours, Lunar Grey, High Reaches, Silver Pearl, Grey Matter. I think they are really good whites, soft neutrals to start with if you're not sure of where to begin. If you prefer something slightly warmer, have a look at Taubmans Strawn Grey. Also have a look at Cloudburst, Akimbo as well, we have on here. But the biggest suggestion that I can make to you is to understand that when you are using whites within your own space, your whites will be affected by things such as lighting, furnishings that you have around. And a great example is if you have a red leather lounge, certain times of day, your walls can actually, in some areas, have a soft pink glow to them. If you do have lots of timber within your space, a lot of timber flooring, and you're getting a lot of natural light, that sunlight can project or reflect onto your walls and make it look warmer. So that you're always, I guess, so that you begin to understand how whites can work within their space, and so that you're not disappointed when you go to the colour wall and you select a white and you get 4 litres of it, you take it home, you paint it and you go, gee, that's not what I thought it looked like. Do yourself a favour and grab yourself a sample pot. And as I was saying before, a quick brush out onto a piece of cardboard, at least 1 metre by 1 metre, and move it around the room and pay particular attention putting it down next to your flooring and putting it up next to your ceiling to see how it's going to work within its space, see how it's going to work with your furnishings, and obviously with natural light and artificial lighting. And the other thing I always say is when you're looking, or when you're beginning to select colours, you know, and you've got this brochure and you're at home and you're looking at it now at the kitchen bench, there's not a lot of natural light where I am at the moment, we've got lots of lights on. That's not a great place to begin your white journey, if you like. You want to view the whites under natural light to start off with, so that you can really see, I guess, the tint, or see what the colour's about. The next tip I'll give you is when you go to a colour wall, get yourself a chip called Brilliant White. And if you place your other colours up against that Brilliant White colour chip, you can start to see the undertone of the white or the undertone of the colour. They're really, really important tips because I understand, and I'm asked, I don't know how many times when I'm in store about whites, and I'm told many stories about how people are disappointed. They've purchased this white, it looks nothing like what I thought it did in store, etc. So it's really important to try it within its own space. So I guess that's pretty much all I have for tonight. As I said before, when I first started, don't forget the Colorsmith competition that we have going about creating your own colour. Have a look at our Taubmans Facebook page. It's pinned to the top with all of the details there. I certainly know that everybody will be excited to see your colour creations and hear all about why you have created that colour. I think it's very special. But anyway, as I always say, I hope everybody has a great evening. Do stay safe out there. Look forward to seeing you again next week, and I'll be online for the next half an hour or so. So if you do have any further questions or you're wanting to upload photos, now's the time and I'll certainly answer them for you. But until next week, everybody, stay safe and happy painting. See you later. Thank you.